All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dowell. You know, for those of us who love liberty, who love independence, and who definitely want the government out of our business, it's painful. It's very, very painful when I have to constantly, read articles like this, to do whatever I can to put a defibrillator on your mind to let you know the way that the system views and sees things. And then the punishment that is incurred because you decide to lawfully pursue a different route with your family. That's the reason why over and over again, I ask you to educate yourself concerning the marriage license, because the marriage license is more than just permission from the state to take this woman for a wife. Mind you, and I will say this, George Washington, none of the founding fathers of this country ever had a marriage license. And for those of you who are new to the channel, I'll give you a little bonus. Marriage license came into play when people were practicing miscegenation or misogyny, which is, what they have determined today, race mixing. Well, anyway, the government never misses out on an opportunity. So what they did, they found out, say, hey, we can make money off of this. I call it actually legalized prostitution, because basically you're being sold to a man for permission from the state from anywhere between $30 and $50. You call it what you want, but I just see it the way it is. But this video is about a homeschooling mother that was actually jailed, and I do mean jailed, for taking her child out of public school. And you need to understand this. Let me educate you. You see, you and I, we have in our mind and conscience, when we have children, they are ours. They belong to me. However, what's not disclosed to us, what the school teacher's not telling you, what the guidance counselor is not telling you, what the court, the people down at the actual place where you get the license, what they are not telling you, and what lawyers and attorneys and everybody else is not telling you, is the terms to this contract that was never disclosed at signing. That's why I say over and over again, you don't need the permission from the state to get married. When you do, you sign over legal jurisdiction, whether you like it or not. And they're going to exercise that power whenever they decide to flex their muscles. And whether you like it, comprehend it, understand it or not, and ignorance is not bliss. You enter into a third-party contractual agreement with the state. You enter into a polygamous arrangement. And to show you that you have no power over that marriage, let's just say one the spouses decide to kick the traces and cut a fool and act a fool, blase, 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 and you want to dissolve that relationship or terminate that contract. You cannot do it without the authority in the contract's approval, and that authority is the state. You can't just go out and just say, okay, I'll divorce you, write you a bill, and then gone. And then you listen to these spiritually retarded people today that act like and comprehend that they know what all they incur at receiving his license, because you see, the state has given a lot of women some form of what they call protection, when there's really no protection whatsoever at all. She just trade her allegiance from you, the man, the patriarchy, to the state. Let's go into this. It's very painful, but you need this for education purposes, and pass this around for those who are freedom, liberty, loving people. Whoo! Was Buffalo mom jailed over homeschool decision? WKBW7 ABC Buffalo, there in New York. Check this out. Single mother, Carrie Harris, started researching homeschool last November. You hear that? She started researching homeschool last November. All right, look at this. She says her 2 elementary school age children weren't excelling at their failing Buffalo public schools. Now, you can't tell me that this mother is not interested in the education. And I'm going to tell you right now, our children far exceed and excel any public school child that's in our region up here. I mean, they go to college on academic scholarships. They get people chasing them down, wanting them to do this and that and this and that. But let me go on. All right. I felt that the district was failing my children, and that's when I made the decision to homeschool, she said. Harris says she filed documents at the Buffalo City Hall following all the steps informing the districts of her intent to homeschool her children. See, now watch this. You got to ask yourself a question. What is going on that some way, somehow they got to have their tentacles inside of you? That before you can actually even begin to homeschool, you have got to pull your children. You got to ask for permission. I'm going to tell you again. It goes back to the marriage license. All right, here we go again. According to documents she provided to 7 Eyewitness News, they're dated December 7th, and the district says it received her paperwork. All right. I spoke directly to the homeschool coordinator, and she told me from this point on, my children were officially unenrolled from school. Things took a turn when she says a week later, Child Protective Services called wondering why her kids, they're not kids, they are children. Kids, I can show you a kid. A kid is these goats that we have out there in the field. Weren't in school. I told them that my kids were homeschooled now and that I could furnish the documents if they needed them. All right. Thinking everything was fine, Harris says she went on with her homeschooling, but then less than a month later, she says she was confronted by CPS workers and police. You know, they always come with the police. And now the truth is, the police really can't do anything to you when the Child Protection Services show up. Because normally when they show up, they do not have a warrant, a bench warrant from a judge. It's just there to intimidate you. It's there to coerce you to make unwise, sound decisions. That's why you need to know the law. And I tell you, the dishonesty, the bigotry, the treachery that goes into this, it's utterly amazing. It's forced coercion, what it is. Soft form to get you to comply. You know, they're showing you, twisting your arm, but they're really not twisting it because they're hoping that this show of force in your conscience, the way you've been trained, because you're definitely uneducated, that you would begin to just do what they say, sign your name on dotted line, all this other. Anyway, I know, but PastorDowell is the one that's crazy. PastorDowell is the one who's lost his mind. PastorDowell is the one that's out of touch. How about PastorDowell is the one who is sane and in his right mind, and many of you people are undiagnosed, mentally ill, schizophrenic people that ignore the truth of your rights, your liberties. It's just, anyway. See, the stuff like this just burns me. It burns me. I'm going to go on here, all right? Let me go on here because I can't help but to interject, but I'm going to go on. So here she is thinking everything was fine. Let me pick up. Harris says she went on her homeschooling less than a month. Later, she was confronted by the CPS worker and police, according to Harris. They told her that they had a court order to take her children, and when she told them no, she was arrested for obstruction. Now, if they got a court order, you know, a bench warrant from the judge or something like that, then you have to comply because it's the law of the land. That's when you get arrested, all right? She says she hasn't seen her kids in 3 weeks, and they've been in a foster institution. So now the state, I keep telling you, see, the state's flexing his muscle. When are you people going to listen to me? See, none of this is important until it comes to your own backyard. And when it comes to your backyard, then all of a sudden we want support. Then all of a sudden we want people to protest. Then all of a sudden we want people to rally around us because all of a sudden we are having emotional pain. Because the truth is we don't care much about other people's plight or flight. We don't care nothing about their flight whatsoever at all until pain comes to our backyard. Then all of a sudden we want justice. What hypocrites we are. You see, that's why I say over and over again, I am a person that love you more than you hate yourself. And most of the time, I find it more often than not in this country that people love ignorance. It's some type of utopia. They think ignorance is blissful. Again, until you... Now, mind you, I'm under no illusion whatsoever at all. They can shoot you, kill you, murder you, burn your house down, plant evidence and everything. And guess what? The state will always be right because they're not going to rat each other. I realize this. That's when other recourses, you need to have your mind set. But anyway, the Buffalo Public School District says she cannot comment on this case due to federal laws, but says the order for a parent to file for homeschooling, they must have full custody of the children. Now, what does that mean? All right, let me explain to you. Again, you in your mind, when you get married, you think when you have a child that the child belongs to you. PastorDowell is going to give you the university of the painful truth. Your child does not belong to you. I know nature tells you it does. Your mind tells you it does. Your conscience tells you it does. But you have signed your children over. You have given legalized jurisdiction, not only through the marriage license, but through the birth certificate. When the husband signs the birth certificate, and a lot of times they try to bypass the husband, go straight to the wife. When you sign that birth certificate, what you do is you give 2/3 controlling interest. Yes, you do, of that union. And then the children actually belong to the state. You become a ward, a babysitter. The child belongs to the state, and you get to pay and rear the child. And then the state educates their children, because they don't want you to educate your children. They want to educate their children to function in their world, their society. I know this is painful. It is painful. I know it is. But if you believe that I'm wrong, and most of you, you know, your religion has done duped you and deceived you so much that you would rather just stick your head in the sand, stick it in the ground, wipe your mouth, and act like that this video has never existed. Act like that this man that's speaking to you is some type of out-of-touch crackpot in the coop, and then you will defend your oppressors all the way to the death. You will do it. Simply for a song and a dance and a handout. As soon as the police come to your home, first thing you start doing is buck dancing and cooning. And anyway, all right. Harris says she's a single parent and has always had full custody until her kids were taken away. The case is far from finished. Buffalo Common Council will be addressing it tomorrow. Now, up here, I will go to this part. It says an update. Buffalo City Councilman calls arrest unacceptable. All right, let's see how educated this city councilman is. All right, he says unacceptable. Wingo calls schooling, and this thing is going to do something right here, and I better turn it down. Arrest unacceptable. All right. Buffalo, New York, Councilman Ulysses O. Wingo Sr. says it is utterly unacceptable that a Buffalo mother was arrested for educational neglect because she decided to homeschool her children. Mind you, she jumped through all the hoops. She been through the circus. She done did everything that they said, and they still, by force of law, came and took them. Someone somewhere messed up, and that someone needs to face the music, Wingo said at a Buffalo Common Council meeting Tuesday afternoon. Yeah, they need to be sued because that's the only thing. Power only understands one thing. Power. That's it. And believe it or not, there are, just like there are only a very few good police officers, there are only a very few good judges and lawyers, meaning that they have the intention to interpret the law for what it says on the books and not put their own religious bias or their own civil biases into this mess. In December 2016, Carrie Harris submitted written paperwork notifying the Buffalo School District of her intent to pull her two children from PS 95 Waterfront Elementary and PS 65 Roosevelt ECC. That paperwork was stamped indicating that the district had received it on December 7th. I spoke directly to the homeschool coordinator And she told me from this point on, my children were officially unenrolled from school. Harris told 7 Eyewitness News. Less than a month later, Harris says she was confronted by CPS workers and police. Her children were taken and put into foster care, and Harris was arrested and charged. This does not pass the smell test. It looks bad, Wingo said. Did anyone from the school reach out to the mother? We don't know. It's very important for us to look at the details and get all the details, Wingo said. Wingo is calling on family court to return the children to his mother. Custody immediately. Meantime, Harris' case has been sent to the Common Council's Educational Committee. No. Find you a constitutional lawyer and sue them. And hopefully you can garner some support with other people, because the truth is, our biggest problems as Americans is that we can't come together as a people. Why do you think corporations have so much influence in this country with politicians and presidents and leaders? Because they know that it takes power. It takes a concerted effort of people being collective in mind, and then not only just saying a bunch of damn words, but putting your money where your mouth is. And when you get 1 million people contributing $10 each for a common cause, and then you have them people to go up to Congress or anywhere else to lobby or the state legislature, then they will listen to you because they know you mean business. But see, our problem is we can't come together on nothing, because you got the dumbest, ignorant, most stupidest person that think they ought to be the president. And then you got the next dumb and stupid person think they all be the vice president, and everybody wants to be the leader. And it's just sad the way they have conditioned us. Let me finish this, all right? I'm going too long right here, all right? Buffalo Public School District says it cannot comment on this case due to federal laws, but says in order for a parent to file for homeschooling, they must have full custody of the children. The district also says that in general, a letter of intent is submitted and is acknowledged along with the requirements of submitting the individual educational plans. The district says that the children are not to be taken out of school until such time those plans are approved. Whew, there you have it. Listen to me. I am not here to cause you pain and discomfort. Many of you do that well on your own. You don't need my help. But for those who do have the ears to hear, for those who are willing to hear, and when the time comes that you are tired of being tired and you really want change, and now you're in a position to hear, you will hear. But that's going to come at an agreement that you make in your mind like you've done all your life. You made agreements with wrong things and found out later on you've been wrong. And so you're going to have to renounce and fall out of bad agreements and come into an agreement, a good, righteous agreement. And then and only then will you be able to change your character, change your person, change who you are. But that's only going to come if you decide to do your due diligence. You're going to exercise self-autonomy. You're going to accept the truth no matter how painful it is, even if it goes against your personal biases. You're going to bend your will to that. That's when you'll experience freedom, liberty, and happiness. That's why I keep telling you over and over again. You see, you get out of the city. You really, truly, happiness is, I keep telling you, many of us have displaced happiness. Happiness is when you yourself can take personal responsibility and enjoy your family in this short life that we have and not depend on somebody else to raise it. Because think about this. Are you sure you want your children in public school? Have you not seen what's going on? Transgender bathrooms, gender neutral bathrooms, boys not knowing that they're boys and girls not knowing they're girls, and girls choosing to be boys and cross-dressing, and boys choosing to be girls and cross-dressing, and music industry. I kissed a girl and I loved it. And what's going on? Do not let me oppress you. If the truth hurts you that bad, then deliver yourself from this channel and go to a place where you're going to be lied to and they're going to give you a similitude of happiness. But if you want the truth, you want it straight way, you have entered into the University of the Painful Truth, and this is Professor PastorDowell. I'm going to give you the skinny straight up. From that point, it's up to you to make an informed decision. You can pick and choose. Now, I know what many people, they'll start making excuses. They'll start saying, well, I got to work, and I got to do this, and I got to do that, I got to do that. And so all that is more important than your children growing up not knowing who they are or having a strong possibility and chance of being turned out in public school. Or to have some perverted relative or some pedophile or some child molester in the family decide that they want to take advantage of your children when you are away from them, when you could have secured that. But you chose the thing that was unimportant. Look, all you have to do is downsize your life, be content with such things you have, and stop trying to live after the Joneses, trying to keep up with the Joneses. What's important in life is once the things that are gone, you can't get them back. If your child is gone, you can't get them back. You can't get back the time that you could have been spending with them. You can't get it back. Everybody has a role to play anyway. Enough, minister. If you ever want to get preached to and you want the truth, you can go over to my other channel called Straightway University. I'll put a link down here below. I'll also put a link to this article. I think it's disgusting. The moral decay and the spiritual bankruptcy that we're experiencing in this wicked country called America.